Sebaiknya harus tahu bahwa ICO tersebut ada di layer mana, apakah itu yang bersama bisa dibandingkan gitu.
Okay, so while the tech guys are building all the infrastructure, the business guys are building all the ecosystems.
Jadi saat orang-orang teknis, orang teknologi yang membangun infrastruktur, harusnya orang bisnis yang membangun ekosistem.
Okay, so there are a lot of exchanges on the marketplace to them, but this is what one of the largest digital asset groups in the world have built together with their exchange.
Banyak exchanges yang besar. Inilah salah satu yang terbesar sudah bangun untuk dalam exchange mereka.
Okay, so they have their own investment fund and they have their own ecology fund. Investment fund means that they invest in the ICOs itself to make more money. Ecology fund is for the funds that they may raise so that they can grow more debts that use their services.
Jadi contoh di dalam portfolionya ada investment fund, juga ada ecology fund. Investment fund dia bisa pakai dana itu buat invest di ICO supaya mereka dapat keuntungan lagi. Ecology fund adalah buat fund supaya dia bisa pakai services di masa depan.
And then of course they have all the labs in which they research the latest ICOs and also to test whether their technology works before onboarding them.
Dan juga ada R&D lab-nya yang terus mereka tes ICO baru sebelum mereka memakai teknologi itu untuk mereka onboard kepada teknologinya mereka.
And of course for a billion-dollar company, they will have their own media and they will have their own user interaction in the form of let's say crypto profiles or some kind of dashboard for users.
Jadi sekarang ada perusahaan yang udah $1 miliar ke atas dolar, dia juga ada media perusahaan dan juga ada di dalam interface-nya ada hal-hal dashboard yang lebih membantu buat user memakainya.
Yeah, so they have they interact with users on different levels, so they hold activities on different kinds of levels as well.
Jadi karena berinteraksi dengan user di level berbeda-beda, jadi juga ada aktivitas yang berbeda-beda untuk melayani user di level yang beda-beda.
Yeah, so each can be used as a marketing tool and branding tool for the exchange.
Ya, masing-masing bisa dipakai untuk buat marketing, buat branding juga.
Okay, so that was finance. So that was a finance company aiming to be the global top finance exchange and asset house. So actually finance itself forms a big part of the economic structure because when you have liquid markets, good projects can be funded and of course borrowing is cheap and available. So actually finance itself has a very big impact on the rest of the economy.
Ya, finance adalah sangat penting dalam ekonomi. Kalau memang ternyata banyak likuiditas, jadi mau itu buat funding project baru, buat dapetin pinjaman jadi lebih murah. Jadi hal-hal ini akan membantu inovasi dalam bisnis dunia kita.
So when they always talk about crypto being used to buy digital assets, what is the biggest digital asset industry if not finance?
Ya, kalau memang kripto bisa beli digital asset, kenapa finance industry tidak dilirik karena itu yang terbesar di dalam dunia?
Yeah, so actually in the last few weeks, the Singapore government has invested in Binance in Singapore, and they have also bought into a token sales platform.
Jadi baru beberapa waktu lalu pemerintah Singapura baru masuk sahamnya sebagai pemegang saham di perusahaan Binance dan juga sebuah perusahaan yang lain juga.
So if indeed the day that crypto can be used to buy traditional finance assets in a digital way, I think that will be a big boost for industry.
Nah, kalau masa depannya kripto bisa dibeli produk-produk tradisional finance, itu menjadi sebuah luar biasa buat industri kita.
So I'll be presenting the insights from the informal survey that I just made. So insights is useful in a lot of ways in terms of patterns, whether it corresponds to what you think or maybe it doesn't correspond to what you think. Both are useful.
Jadi ini hasil insights dari survei informal yang kita lakukan. Semoga ini bagi buat teman-teman hadirin bisa berguna buat apakah setuju dengan searah atau mungkin tidak setuju. Ya, itu masing-masing kita bisa atur.
So for the blockchain companies and the CEO, I asked a few important questions, mainly revolving around three areas. What is the most important thing for you in the digital asset economy? what have you been doing for the last 6 months and what are you looking forward to in the next 6 months.
Jadi ini survei untuk 40 blockchain company dan CEO-nya akan pertanyaan-pertanyaan seperti apa menjadi yang mereka lakuin sekarang, apa yang mereka lakuin ke depan, dan apa yang menjadi penting buat mereka prioritas buat mereka akan lakukan.
Okay, so there's no confidence level to this. It's not statistically viable, but I just thought that it's interesting.
Ya, walaupun ini tidak cukup secara statistik, tapi setidak insight ini semoga bisa jadi gambaran.
Right. So these are some of the companies I spoke to, some of my friends in different companies, including Dr. Alex Sell from NUS, my good partner Mark from Flash Boys, and some of my other friends in other blockchain companies.
Inilah beberapa teman-teman kita dari dunia blockchain dan industri ini di Flash Boys dan NUS dan beberapa tokoh-tokoh mereka akan share insight mereka.
Okay, nice. Okay, so this is the profile of the participating companies. Media is around 4%, others 45%, venture capital 10%. Blockchain projects 14% and advisory about 14%.
Inilah profil perusahaan-perusahaan yang ikut survei ini sesuai dengan pembagian pie chart yang ada di tengah.
Okay. Alright, so there's both insights and there's asights. Asights is from me. Insights is what they tell me. Asights is my conclusion from studying the data that they gave me.
Jadi kita sudah dapat insights dari hasil survei. Nanti ada asights yang hasil dari penafsiran saya supaya bisa itu hasil dari insights tersebut.
Okay, so what is the first question? What is the single thing most needed today when creating a successful economy around digital assets?
Pertanyaan pertama, apa sih satu hal yang paling penting hari ini untuk menciptakan sebuah ekonomi yang sangat berhasil di dunia digital aset?
Okay, next. Okay, 33% say that real-world applications, better use case acceptance by public is the most important thing.
Jadi 33% menyatakan bahwa pemakaian use case yang bisa dipakai, yang bisa diterima oleh real world pada dunia nyata itu diterima oleh publik itu sangat penting.
To me, right, this does not sound like an industry that's out for quick money.
Menurut saya, ini bukan industri yang mencari uang cepat.
We are aware of the problems in the industry. We are aware that the solutions that we provide are often not accepted by the public yet.
Kita paham bahwa solusi yang kita tawarkan itu belum tentu bisa diterima oleh pasaran atau masyarakat sekarang. Itu masih baru.
Yeah. Okay, so a large part of that question comes around the concept of the killer app. Okay, everyone very early on when the prices were still low, everyone's saying, hey, maybe somebody can come up with something like Facebook. Or Facebook for decentralized, then token price will go up a lot. So the concept of killer app is always around. Someone is waiting for an ICO and then a project that has such tremendous impact in society that no one can ever say that blockchain is a failure.
Jadi ada sebuah konsep killer app bahwa nanti ada sebuah aplikasi di dunia kripto seperti Facebook atau seperti aplikasi yang bisa sangat mengubah kehidupan. Ini akan menjadi sangat-sangat bagus sekali. Ini banyak sekali konsep seperti ini yang ada bisa menggantikan atau melawan aplikasi yang populer saat ini.
The thing is, the idea of a killer app, it may not be there. It may just be a replacement of a current app but done in a better way. It may be an incremental improvement rather than something that we can achieve that is so outstanding in blockchain.
Tapi belum tentu ada sebuah aplikasi yang bisa membunuh aplikasi yang lain, belum tentu. Soalnya bisa aja improve lebih baik lagi atau tampil lebih menarik, tapi belum tentu ada. Ini hanya sebuah pemikiran saja.
And even if this is a killer app, the adoption won't be so fast, right? Because humans have inertia. You always do what you're familiar with, and so even if there is something like this, it's much too early to say.
Walaupun kalau terciptalah sebuah aplikasi killer app ini, tapi belum tentu teradopsi dengan baik. Belum tentu masyarakat publik bisa memakai ini dengan baik karena mereka sudah ada, manusia pasti ada sebuah kebiasaan, sebuah kepercayaan, mereka sudah tergantung, mereka belum tentu menerima suatu hal yang baru begitu mudah.
Okay, so the same question again. What is the single thing most needed today when creating a successful economy around digital assets?
Paling penting hari ini untuk menciptakan ekonomi yang sukses dalam digital asset.
So this is the second most popular answer.
Ini jawaban kedua yang sangat populer juga.
16% say regulatory approval or clarity.
16% menyatakan bahwa butuh regulator yang approve atau penjelasan aturan mainnya.
So we have the first answer, most people say that we do not have a very successful use case yet. And the second group of people say that we need government clarity on regulations.
Ya, kalau kita lihat bahwa grup pertama ngomong bahwa butuh sebuah teknologi yang bisa bermanfaat kepada publik. Grup yang kedua ngomong bahwa perlu sebuah aturan yang jelas dari pemerintahan supaya ini bisa langgeng.
Yeah, to me that sounds like an industry that's really trying to contribute.
Jadi ini kedengarannya sebuah industri yang benar-benar memberi kontribusi.
Okay, so regulations versus innovation. This was at another conference that was held in Hong Kong. I think the third quote is the most important. It really is very difficult for the regulators to understand innovation, especially when it moves so fast.
Jadi antara beda regulator dan innovation sangat susah kalau mengatur sebuah inovasi yang berubah dan berkembang begitu cepat. Jadi inilah sebuah tantangan buat regulator untuk mengatur inovasi yang begitu cepat.
Because when you make a regulation, it has political consequences if you make a mistake.
Jadi kalau memang buat sebuah peraturan, itu pasti ada dampak politiknya buat jangka panjang.
Yeah, so sometimes we should not really complain too much when you feel that the government is too slow, because actually the consequences of moving fast on regulations may be worse.
Jadi kita tidak bisa banyak komplain kalau memang pemerintahannya membuat sebuah regulasinya agak pelan, karena kalau salah membuat regulasi atau peraturan itu dampaknya tuh lebih besar.
Okay, so actually the community should act as a bridge between innovators and regulators. We should actually encourage more sessions like today when people can actually sit down and discuss.
Jadi memang inovator regulator harus sering ngobrol, diskusi supaya ada kemajuan dan sebuah ada jembatan supaya bisa tercipta.
But if you continuously play the role innovators, talk about your own project to regulators, talk about how good it is, I think it's very hard to bridge the gap.
Kalau kita hanya pikir sebagai inovator tapi tidak pikirnya sebagai regulator, cuma pikir hal yang baru, tidak ngobrol kepada regulator, susah menciptakan jembatan ini.
Okay, so these are different quotes. I won't read them. This is from Veronica from Philippines. Some of them feel that we need more use of the tokens at a marketplace that use all kinds of tokens and things like that.
Ini adalah quotes-quotes dari teman-teman yang lain, mungkin teman-teman bisa baca sendiri.
Okay, so what is the next most important piece of news you're looking forward to in the next 6 months?
Apa sih berita yang paling penting yang diharapkan untuk 6 bulan akan datang?
I think this is quite useful. We always want to know what our competitors are thinking as well.
Ini sangat penting, kita harus mikir apa yang kompetitor kita lagi selalu pikir juga.
Okay, so actually 62% desire some kind of clarity on government regulation, government acceptance, and proper regulations.
Jadi 62% menyatakan bahwa harapannya adalah sebuah dari pemerintahan untuk jelas peraturan lainnya.
So actually, I think, come to think of it, right? If most of the blockchain people are waiting for this, actually we are an industry that is quite mired in uncertainty.
Jadi karena industri pada nunggu ini, kita memang sebuah industri yang bisa bergerak di dalam hal yang tidak pasti ya.
We are not just mired in uncertainty, we are also actually waiting.
Kita juga menunggu ya.
So actually that may account for the crypto prices at the moment.
Mungkin itulah alasannya kenapa harga kripto seperti ini sekarang.
Okay, so we'll skip this. Okay, we'll skip this as well because I don't have time. Next, yeah. Okay, so just 12% of the people interviewed say that they are looking forward to better technology.
Hanya 12% hanya menyatakan mau teknologi lebih baik.
I think the industry knows that you just play along on technology is not going to work out.
Industri paham bahwa hanya teknologinya nggak cukup.
People build a computer, put an OS inside, and sold it to people. So that's company users. And then we started to do platform play like Facebook. So you have a company, you build a platform, people around the world can use it.
Jadi sekarang banyak sekali platform, banyak sekali teknologi berkembang, banyak konsep dalam teknologi ini dipakai.
So the platform play took about 25 years, and now in just 1 year, we have platforms that do not have companies but have token ecosystem.
Nah, sebuah platform play itu butuh 25 tahun buat berkembang. Sekarang lagi tidak lagi butuh itu, malah pakai token, itu perkembangan yang lebih besar lagi.
Yeah, so actually the crypto innovation in a way is moving much too fast for user adoption.
Kripto dengan satu cara adalah bergerak begitu lebih cepat daripada manusia yang bisa ikuti.
Okay, so this is from the SEC, just some quotes. I didn't interview him, but he's advocating as well in the US that people have a light touch to regulations.
Jadi intinya dari quote dari SEC juga menyatakan bahwa ada light touch terhadap regulation karena mau melihat inovasi yang muncul.
Okay, so just the last question. Do you think blockchain will create a fairer, more transparent, and more integrated global economy, and why?
Apakah, dengan pertanyaan terakhir, apakah blockchain bisa menciptakan sebuah ekonomi yang lebih fair, yang lebih transparan, yang lebih menyatu di secara global, dan kenapa?
Yeah, okay. Okay, so 72% say yes, 0% say no, and 18% say maybe.
Ya, ternyata jawabannya 72% bilang iya, 0 yang say enggak, 18 yang say maybe.
I think you cannot do a crypto project without some social good. It's very important to realize that the people who are driving these projects all have some kind of desire to make the world a better place.
Karena sebuah crypto project, pemikirannya adalah supaya project ini bisa membantu lebih banyak orang lagi, membantu lebih banyak orang lagi, masyarakat lagi.
Okay, so Mr. Lee from South Korea, he says that actually the best thing is because middle class people can now start projects and actually funds have flowed their way.
Dan Mr. Lee dari South Korea menyatakan bahwa sekarang medium size bisnis sudah bisa dapat funding supaya bisa lebih pegang ekonominya negara tersebut.
Okay, so Jared, he's more technical. He says that maybe it still requires a lot of things: currency initiatives, stablecoin, security issues. So he's a very technical guy. So he thinks that it can succeed, but it still needs a lot of work yet.
Ya, ini menyatakan bahwa mungkin bisa berhasil, tapi mungkin harus kerja lebih keras supaya ini jadi berhasil.
Okay, so and then this unknown person, because I gave them a choice not to use the name, he says that no, I don't know, technology may not always turn out the way you want. He's very cautious, as you can see.
Ada juga yang hati-hati, dia bilang bahwa teknologi belum tentu menjadi apa yang kita harapkan.
These are all the advisors. They are all doing different projects. And one thing I noticed about all the blockchain companies is that they are not slowing down.
Ya, jadi ini banyak komentar dari institusi beda-beda. Intinya adalah sangat gerak, sangat cepat.
Okay, so they are all working, driving community integration. They are constantly talking to the public as well.
Jadi terus berbicara dengan publik, terus dengan komunitas, terus kembangin industri ini.
Okay, Dr. Sel, they have established, National University of Singapore established a blockchain program as well.
Di Singapura, University Singapura ternyata membuat sebuah program tentang blockchain.
Okay, so this is the last slide. Okay, I think the most important thing here is this: the regulators and the technology community should work closely together to give better business option to business leaders.
Jadi ini slide terakhir, saya percaya bahwa regulator dan inovator harus kerja sama lebih erat, lebih dekat supaya bisa dapat solusi bisnis lebih baik lagi buat ekonomi kita.
Because business owners do not need to know how to code, they just need to understand what is the real situation and what is the right technology to use.
Jadi orang bisnis seharusnya nggak perlu ngerti bagaimana melakukan programming coding, tapi yang penting adalah memakai teknologi apa untuk menyelesaikan masalah apa dalam industri mereka.
So I hope you found this presentation useful. I do not talk about my company, and I do not talk about how blockchain is, but mainly I hope to give you an insider's view on what the industry is actually about.
Ya, saya tidak banyak bahas tentang perusahaan saya cuma memberikan insights atau informasi yang menurut saya ini penting, share buat industri ini supaya kita bisa maju bersama.
Thank you for having us, Bali. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Mr. Finson, for the session. I would now like to call upon our next presenter, Mr. Santos Sinha, founder of OIX Global. Santos Sinha has been a much sought-after security professional in the banking sector for much of his professional life. His thorough understanding of fintech and legal aspect of the business has enabled him to innovate and disrupt with ease. He brings his extensive experience from his time at PricewaterhouseCoopers, Bank of America, and MasterCard. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Santos Sinha.
Hello, Bali. How are you guys? Blockchain, roadblocks. We have been listening all day how blockchain is growing and what is stopping. We hear all the time regulatory bodies, government. That's what I'm going to talk about. That's what we do. We work with government. We build solutions for government blockchain solutions. So that's what we have, OIX Government Blockchain Cloud. That's what we do. Now, talking about blockchain and government. The idea is kind of colliding, going in reverse direction. When we talk about blockchain, we're talking about decentralization. Most of the solution we hear is talking about how to decentralize the solution. And government is all about centralization. Everything goes to center. Government wants to control. Blockchain wants to decontrol. How do we marry them together? We see all the time different parts of the world. We have seen the graph from different presenters. When the numbers have been changing in different parts of the world, some government is adopting, is open to the idea, some of them are not. So there's a big gap why government should go for it, why they should not. So when can government use a blockchain? Why they should go for it? Why only these payment gateways or e-commerce or even in banking? That's what we have heard, like e-banker and so it's different solutions who have been trying to get into an alternative solution. Why not government? What is stopping for government? What is the best use cases? Last presenter was talking about pick the right use cases. So what are the right use cases for government? What they should go for? So for government to choose a blockchain, the questions they have is the parties they have, the citizen services, different departments they have. Do they need to share the data? And share the data with who? And do the party upload data? For example, if there's some KYC solution where they need to upload their IDs or any benefits where they need to share the data, all those different use cases needs to be considered while the government is choose for that. Is any verification required in the process? If you're distributing certain benefits or validating who you are, like KYC, that's a standard term. Those things need to be accommodated. And if the government solution needs any of those or multiple of them, they can consider blockchain. Now, where can government use blockchain? Where it's easy, low-hanging fruits for government to go make an implementation of blockchain? Well, easy ones are like election. People vote, most of them democratic countries, people vote. Government can choose to do the voting using the blockchain services, where the services can be validated. Who voted and for who. The corruption in election can be removed. Licensing and IDs, licensing driver license or government IDs, citizen IDs, those are the different departments where the government can use the blockchain. Titles management. Let's say, do we know that 30% of the land records are missing? People don't know who owns the land. The data is either lost or not known. Talking about that, government can use that into land registry, the title management of the land. Or there are different other title management can be done as well using blockchain. Benefits distribution, most of the government, different part of the world run different subsidy programs. They have some health programs which benefit people who are underprivileged or make less money. There are several different government programs which which have citizen benefit services that can extend the use of blockchain. And intra-government program. Government makes a lot of payment within different departments or to their partners, their contractors. All those payment services can use blockchain services. Why government is not using blockchain? Why they're not up for it? What is stopping them? What is the limiting factor for them? Blockchain was not built for government. As I said, it has been so long, it has been about decentralization, and government is built around the knowledge or the idea of centralization. So there's two opposing ideas that stop from government making a jump for it. Blockchain networks have a lot of a scalability problem. Like we hear that certain transaction takes much longer. All this mining solution we have, where people mine Bitcoins, they require a lot of power, and there's a lot of lag, there's a lot of wait period when you can really complete the transaction. When we're talking about that, let's say Indonesia government goes for a blockchain-based payment solution. Would you like to wait a couple of hours for that? Would you like your numbers to change? For example, you made a transaction for 1 million Indonesian rupiah, and while the transaction happens, takes time, the money is lost or added. When it's lost, you don't like that. When it is added, you like it. But essentially, in a government transaction, government cannot afford to do that. The government needs to give you, if they committed to give you 10 million rupiah, they need to give you 10 million rupiah. Not a single rupee less, not a single rupee more. So the scalability then and performance is an issue that's where the adoption is lacking. And when we talk about blockchain, Bitcoin, we hear that about smart contract. That a smart contract we have as of today in use is not optimized for government to use. The complex need of government needs much more versatile a smart contract. In current state, that solution is not going to render or fit for government use. Now, today's government need on-demand growth. There's a lot of different services government render, and there's always, in any kind of citizen services, there are certain times when there's a peak performance needed. For example, taxation. If people are doing taxation, certain countries have end of the year. For example, United States, where I come from, the taxation is done by December. What does that mean? That means that you have almost 500 million people jumping on a system to file the taxes. It means all the year long, there was no use of the system, and suddenly the peak is there for the uses. How do you handle that? How do you accommodate that? Those are the challenges that are needed. So on-demand growth. At times you have zero need, and suddenly the need jumps like this, or maybe like this. So, and additionally, like blockchain, we say, okay, we have a copy of data everywhere. A copy here, a copy there. But government cannot afford to do that. In certain cases, they want to share certain data, but they do not want to share the data. For example, let's say military uses. If there's a military contract, do they want to share all the data? No. They need to share a selective data with the legislators or other parties who are authorized to look at it. So they need a selective selection of a private network where they can take advantage of this technology and use that to their benefit. In any part of the world, whether it's the United States or Indonesia or any other country, the government wants to reduce the cost. The cost is lower, it should be lower and lower. Additionally, not only that we need a blockchain, there's a mixture of new solution which marries with existing older solution. So integration needs to be in the place. How do you merge them together with a legacy monolithic government system and integrate them with the latest new technology? Government public sector, we have, what do they exactly need? They have already invested a lot of money into different applications. It's not that the government didn't exist. The government has been there forever, since forever, and they have an existing working solution. What do they do with them? They just cannot jump on a new solution, anybody suggests, and then they start making use of that. That doesn't happen. So you need a solution which picks on what is already there, take advantage of that, and render a new solution. And of course, as we talked about, minimize the cost. The investment has already been made. How do you take advantage of that and put another layered approach on top of that and take advantage of the money which is already put there and maximize the existing investments. Now, again, these are the needs. Now, what is a really requirement? What is the government really required to adopt such technology? Government wants to have security controls. There has to be fine-grained control. Now, for example, in movies you see top secret level and then different levels of secret. Those things actually exist. And government needs to have a control system in place which part of blockchain data can be accessed by who. Compliance. We heard about compliance in first hour. Compliance is a big concern. Whether we're talking about KYC, who, what, when. Who had access to what, when, who transacted, on whose behalf, where the money came from, where the money did go. If it's a rogue operator or the right operator, most of the time, 90% of people are good, but those 10% of rogue operator create problem for the 90%. So those things need to be tracked and taken control over. So there has to be compliance in place. Now, government oversight. Government always need oversight. Who can approve what? So there has to be a chain of authority of, okay, one person approved this and who approved when, things like those. All those things need to be in place for government to adopt or take advantage of such technology. Public sector innovation. Now, OIX public sector solutions, we have identity solution in place where we can render licensing services or attestation or credential services for government. We also have health record and financial payment systems. You can see next. Okay, let's talk more about government public sector. What is the current state of government public sector? Government public sector current state is they have a lot of physical documents. If you go to any government office, you might see a room or maybe so many rooms full of records having a lot of dust in them. And when you try to find a record, it adds a lot of delay because it's hard to find that document. It's difficult to trace those documents. And threat of fraud is there. As we know, in different parts of the world, the land is taken over by a different person, and the right person is missing or probably taken over the property. All those two, threat of fraud is there when the document are physical. There's only one copy of the record. If there's multiple copies of the record, it's difficult to make a change into a record if they're into 10 different places. They can be validated by a data set kept at 10 different places. Our solution helps government to automate their digitization process by adopting our technology and reducing the risk. Modernize the technology and transform the citizen experience. When we talk about citizen experience, what do we mean by that? Let's say land registry. Land registry, almost whoever owns the land, they are part of doing the registration, pay the taxes, and improve the ownership. That solution, government can adopt, and we have a working solution for that. Registry built on blockchain and smart contract, government can adopt that. We need, or everybody needs, a single truth of document. Like who owns it? I own it, or you own it. I cannot go to your house and claim it's mine, right? So to be able to endorse who is the right owner or rightful owner of the property or certain asset, that can be done using blockchain. Government can easily adopt that. It's a low-hanging fruit. It ensures who owns and reduce the risk of fraud. Citizen benefits. So certain countries have health benefits or subsidy to farmers or business people or even loan. Government have loan programs for entrepreneurs. All those kind of implementation are easy to adopt using blockchain. Again, it reduces the time to market. How easily they can disperse the loan. How easily the health benefit can be distributed to the farthermost, not in town, village, different part of the country. How to render that solution faster and easily. Government treasury. Government treasury handles a lot of money. A lot of money is being handled by government treasury. And there's a lot of foreign exchange money happening, like government says, for example, government is buying or selling oil, like Indonesia sells oil. The money gets transferred. All those large transactions, intra-government, within government, and outside government can be managed using blockchain. Those are the low-hanging fruits where it can be done. We also have government pay solution where the government can pay. For example, we talked about benefits management where the country or government can choose, elect to share the benefits with the citizens and how to reach out to them using the payment services. Putting them all in a blockchain is a integrated solution. Our solution is simplified. It uses KYC data, and it integrates with all the compliance concerns you may have. All the data integration gives you one click of compliance. So you can easily adapt and get the data. So if the government entity comes to you and say, you're running the solution, and you want to have check what is going on, where our plus and minuses are. You can run the report and figure out where the compliance lapses are. Smart contract. As I mentioned in the beginning, smart contracts are not built for government as they are. They're not even built for a contract for example, even for corporate. If you're trying to do anything out of a standard, I don't know how many of you have dealt with the smart contracts in this existing stage. You will see a lot of limitation. You can't do much. There's only a set of certain functions you can use, and you cannot go beyond that. And that is the limitation we have. We have developed our own smart contract, which scales to billions of transactions. It's not limited because we build solution for citizen services, and our customers have been in different parts of the world, including the United States and India. And the government needs billions of people, like India has more than 1 billion people. We are building solutions for them. It means we need to cater to the need of billions of transactions. And as I mentioned, there's a rapid use of certain services, citizen services, where people jump. For example, taxation. End of the year, whenever the taxation time is that part of the world, the government will jump on those services. How do you render that? How to render that fastly and correctly, where people are not waiting in the queue a day or two to get their answer what is going on. Our solution is subject to patent, and it works very well. This is our structure of government cloud. That's how we have built it. It's a little complex, nothing to explain here. If you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. If not, I'll say thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Santos, for the session. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now have a coffee break, and I request you to be back in your seat in half an hour. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. I would like now to call our next presenter, Mr. Louis Kim, who is a GMB Coin Chief Technology Officer, Blockchain Mainnet Development. He is Applied Biology Major of Chungnam National University, Multimedia Major of Daejeon Polytechnic College, Business Management of Hanyang University, Graduate School of Information Security in Korea University. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Louis Kim.
Presentation. Hello, my name is, English name is Roy Kim, CTO of GMU, CTO of GMU. Presentation. I'm here today to give a brief introduction to the GME project. it is sure you're heard a lot about this. I know that there are many limitations in using the blockchain right now. There are many limitations to using cryptocurrency. In particular, the pricing, the market must be clear. Cryptocurrency has many limitations when it using because of the synchronous price. Blockchain is also slow and difficult to scale. I think it's time for the market to mature. Changing price, our time will be difficult to apply to the payment market. Is very non-complementary. This copy price, copy is the price Bitcoin is very varies the price. It's asynchronous price is a problem. There is this problem. This concept is confidentiality, integrity, availability. Is three concept is element of security area. It's very difficult to run. The non-repudiation is four factor of element of security based on the current availability. It is important conceptual element for proving individual versus of individual transaction. In addition to these technologies, there are many more considerations, such as interoperability, economy, transparency, usability. There are many things to worry about. This is also characteristic of the emerging market. There are a lot to worry about for the business success of the cryptocurrency market. It's very hard. To find a variety of solutions, solution. Sorry. Our team is also working for the relationship between difficult blockchain and difficult model that can be applied to the real world, real industry. Our team analyzes and studies various elements such as mainnet, framework, services, the peer-to-peer network, strategy, complicated, the framework, smart contract. Very important to red color, the response request, managing, explore, the other various services, UI, UX, O2, M10, peer-to-peer, the payment is very important. It's complicated. This definition. After all this concept, our team came up with our one model. This model was created to overcome the problem of exchange rate limitation of price available among international transactions. Our team created a stable trading structure through the redundancy of our kind called branch and master, branch coin and master. dual cryptocurrency system, GNB coin is dual cryptocurrency. The master coin, called the master coin, and bridge coin. Master coin act key currency in the GNB platform. They will be listed on the international exchange and the volatility. Branch coin will be issued for each country. Each country and the value of each branch coin will be set according to the local fiat currency, local currency. The GNB DEX decentralized exchange master coin and branch coin through GNB decentralized exchange. Our one decentralized exchange rate will apply according to this market price and exchange price at the time of exchange. Branch coin will be exchangeable with other branch coin of other countries. The wrapped GNB DEX, this other local fiat country is branch coin. This DEX interface. Picture of GNB platform. To address the price volatility, we need a model run at fast blockchain network, not just software, but hardware perspective, ensure solution transaction, processing speed and scalability of service exchange, a high-speed blockchain solution that combines software and hardware, achieve block generation time 5 seconds, and transaction processing speed of 1 million transactions per second. This concept power specification is mean the using hardware-based. Those stake not only stake price, but also network relationship include. It's more complicated. But I put it quickly, but what you're seeing here is a flow chart to demonstration. It's the first block, second block. First block generation node is stake-based, but the hardware perspective in this node, SHA-1 node, other node, to node, stake over stake is based on power specification is based on high available node. This prove other stack, the second blockchain block generation node, the stake-based state is sum of block generation node state. Is next shows block generation node. This cycling in the DEX, GNB DEX platform. Governance issue is valid policy, so governance policy operation. This is a way to bring the blockchain to life. Through governance, the opinion of system participate introduced and corrective, and voting for a policy decision is rewarded. This is related to more participation, which is turn will determine the future of GNB platform. Reflecting this onto the system will create a more transaction, transparent and democratic blockchain system that my team will be able to operate. This mechanism, the governance operating, this flow chart is mechanism. Smart contract, traditional smart contract is very good, but the programmable-oriented traditional smart contract is good in terms of scalability, but rely on engineer. It's very difficult, but depends on engineer, programmer. It's very problem. Our team has established smart contract structure overcame this limitation. Because smart contract with high readability and intuitive expression being built. So this picture is simple. The readability is intuitive. The block smart contract, this same as objective smart contract. It's very simple. It's very usability. So it's very feasibility. This is one to match local currency. This to solve the price problem. This price through the GMDEX, wrap, master coin, white, French coin. French coin is local fiat currency. This master and branch coin resolve their variability. DEX system, this operate effective trading system between the countries. I think this will help us, our global system. Global business connect. The goal is to obtain price variability through GMB platform and create a global business ecosystem. The nature. This is a service platform. Explain. This nature of our project, the model is suitable for travel. This is called driver space. Driver space is mechanism. GMB members and transaction. They use travel customer is other use GMB members, other travelers. This is through GMB DEX platform. Is interface over the master coin. GMB platform can be applied to service platform in various business fields. The first step that my team will implement into the travel business field with the creator travel space. Travel specification. Specialized company service is such as SNS, the all travel area. The travel starting with travel. Our team will expand to transportation and ride, accommodation, entertainment, and trade. Travel space applied changing in concept of travel from consumption. Profit. Travelers can register various travel experience such as travel logis, photos, pictures, videos, and etc. As travel concept, contest and receive reward. Travelers will be able to use this to obtain more helpful information on their next trip. This shows this mechanism. GMB DEX, use GMB DEX, use Mastercoin, French coin, use travel or travel beside in the interface, this mechanism in the flow chart code. It's just wrap up the concept. Just simple. GEM, utility-oriented flat coin that overcame the price volatility limit of the coin through DEX, GEM DEX, decentralized exchange and trading platform. It's another travel based on the profit sharing based on jet-based GMB, which is encryption modeling model, suitable for the global service of travel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Louis, for advising on the loyalty program. I would like now to call our next presenter, Mr. Danny Baskara, founder and CEO of Exanium, who is a serial entrepreneur with over 12 years of experience in digital marketing, advertising, and e-commerce. Danny was the founder and CEO of eVoucher. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Danny Baskara.
Hello, good afternoon everyone. Today my presentation will be loyalty program on the blockchain. So my name is Danny Baskara. So Exanium is Indonesia public blockchain. So we build public blockchain and we're focusing on retail and advertising platform. So today my session is how blockchain technology can impact retail and marketing area. Next. So Exanium history is built by several tech entrepreneurs. Our background is more in e-commerce. So my background also on e-commerce. I was founder and CEO of one of the loyalty and voucher business in Indonesia that have 1 million users in several time ago. So we have a lot of experience on marketing, on digital marketing, also on acquiring a user and selling goods on e-commerce. So from that idea, so we start build a Exanium last 1.5 years ago. So next, yeah. So before that, last time when we start, we also thinking, do we need a decentralized beside doing a centralized? Because before we do a loyalty commerce website, so we do in centralized way. But now we starting using a decentralized way, using a blockchain technology. So from that transformation, we still to thinking need to do a blockchain or need to do on centralized database. Next, yeah. So this is some proven that use case of the blockchain in retail, yeah, according to McKinsey. So there's some space that a proven use case on the blockchain, like a product verification, point of sale acquisition, loyalty card also can. So from this, we start to build our project. Yeah, before. So next, yeah. So blockchain is efficient to transform the loyalty program. So from this, we start to build our project. Yeah. Next. Yeah. So the key way on blockchain itself is transparency of customer and giving customer more control and their loyalty program. Before several years ago, we have our own loyalty point. So member cannot have a transparency. They didn't know how they can get this point. And now the trend is changing. People now want to exchange their loyalty point. So that's why blockchain itself is changing a trend from the loyalty point itself. Next. So this is also a lot of companies start to do a loyalty point based on the blockchain. So that's why we also create the opportunity from this area. Yeah. Next. So Vexanium, we start Indonesia public blockchain. So we build our own mainnet based on Vexanium platform. So we also focusing on decentralized marketing and also e-commerce way and focus on the blockchain area. Yeah, next. Yeah, this is our roadmap. So our mainnet will be launched on the Q2 2009 next year. So this is next. So our mainnet focus is focused on four ways. First is simplicity. So we make people easy to understand. So we don't want to talk more in tech because now a lot of people they don't know about blockchain. They don't want to enter this industry. So we want to make this very simple. Like you buy an e-commerce, so just click, and you get the product. So second, we also do result delegate proof of stake, as our consensus, and that is scalability. So we try to build the fast transaction speed around 1,000 TPS. Yeah, because we know that like PayPal is only 500 TPS, but PayPal itself can do good in e-commerce. So we start to build our platform and can use on the e-commerce. Yeah. And next, yeah. So this is one of the problem on the blockchain. Yeah. So that's why we try to do on the e-commerce and also in loyalty and also in advertising area. So because now blockchain is until now is still on early adopter. So we cannot go to early majority. We cannot go to the mass market because it's still not easy to enter the blockchain. So not easy to enter for crypto area. So if you in Indonesia itself, if you talk about people, hey, have you have a wallet? Have you have Ether wallet? Have you have Bitcoin wallet? So people will how to create. Do I must go to exchange? And people go to exchange and they do KYC and do a 1, 2, 3 step and it's not easy. So if we cannot surface this problem, this industry cannot go bigger because we need more product that can acceptable to the mass market. So that's why we build Vexanium with this some vision and mission. So we want to make a lot of product that can easily acceptable to the all people. So next, marketing and advertising. Yeah, we know because in marketing part is not easy on the blockchain and crypto space. Yeah, this is and second we focus on Indonesia. Yeah, because our team now on Indonesia and we know Indonesia have a lot of opportunities. So that's why we build on our public blockchain. So every SME in Indonesia they can create their own like smart contract, can create their own project based on our platform. So that we focus on retail and also in e-commerce. Yeah. Next. This is why we are focusing on marketing and advertising in blockchain and also crypto space. If you do a campaign, it's not easy. Yeah, because building awareness is not easy. Because if you go to Google and you go to Facebook, if you want to create an advertising, Google and Facebook will ban you instantly. So it's not easy. So how you can grow your company if you cannot do a marketing? So this is one of the challenges on the blockchain area this year because people cannot do an advertising, so they cannot grow their business. They cannot get new customer. Yeah. So in e-commerce, you must do an advertising first, and after that you calculate how much. CPM, CPC, cost per user acquisition and everything. But in blockchain space, you cannot do like that. Because if you go to Google, and if you go to Facebook, Twitter, and other advertising platform, you will get banned instantly. You cannot do a campaign to get a new user. So from that problem, we try to solve. Yeah, so and second is also customer acquisition, and third is also ads is not easy to do on crypto space. Yeah, next. And also we try to target retailer and e-commerce. So next, and next part we target to Indonesia. Why Indonesia? Yeah, because we know that this country very well. Yeah, we have already built an e-commerce business and already built an advertising business before. So we know this country very well. And Indonesia have a lot of opportunity. More than 260 million people, and half is young generation. And also, right now is only 1.4 million crypto user in Indonesia. It's very small, but Indonesia have big opportunity. So that's why we try focus on Indonesia. We want to build more public blockchain focusing on Indonesia user. Yeah. So also in Indonesia is, if you see 5 years ago or 6 years ago, there's no unicorn in Indonesia. In that time, I was on e-commerce industry. So a lot of people, a lot of investor VC try to go to Indonesia because they see a lot of opportunity. But after 5 years, now Indonesia is most of the unicorn. Unicorn is company that valuation is more than 1 billion is now all from the Southeast Asia. Most of the unicorn is born from Indonesia. If you see like Gojek, Traveloka, Tokopedia, Bukalapak, more than 4 or 5 unicorn is born from Indonesia. So Indonesia have big opportunity. So that's why we try to more focusing on Indonesia, because we know this market will be very huge in next 2 and 3 years, especially on the blockchain space. So next, yeah. So this is our app, our first app that we built after our ICO, already finished 7 months ago. So now we already on market, but we already have couple of products. So this is our first product that we try to enter, to connect it between crypto user to between non-crypto user. So we build a loyalty program, simple way they can get gift, and they can get gift card, voucher, and everything on the one app. So next, yeah, this is a FlexKey app. So in this application, we build a one-stop solution. It's like e-commerce on the blockchain. Yeah. So in this application, you can get flash deal. You can buy something like go to KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, go to Indomaret and Alfamart using this application. So in this application have a lot of function. You can hold the coin and get the point, and after that, the point you can exchange to other people. Also can use the point to go to shop, to go to shop and to get something. Yeah. So next. So now we already on phase 1. So we already only cooperate with Vex user. So only Vexanium holding that can get this loyalty point. But the next step, we have a second phase. All crypto user, they can hold something as an asset, and they will get a point. It's like we have like program, like if you hold like in gold and something, hold like in another cryptocurrency, you will get point. And after that, the point miles that you can redeem as reward, airline tickets, like everything on the app. So basically, we will cooperate with retail and e-commerce. So after you you spend something on e-commerce, you buying with USD or rupiah, you will get loyalty point. And after that, the loyalty point can exchange to our app. So that is our plan to grab a new user to the crypto way. Yeah. Next. So in Indonesia, a lot of people said that KFC is Vexanium. Yeah. So if you a lot of traders say that, oh, KFC is a fact. So yeah, because we already cooperate with KFC, so if you hold some coin, you will get point, and after that, the point you can use on the KFC. Yeah, directly. Yeah, we already can use KFC more than two and a half months. Yeah, and next year we will lot of partner. Yeah, besides KFC, we also the Flex give back. Yeah, back. Yeah. So KFC, the point also can redeem Indomaret also in Alfamart. Yeah. So we have more than 35,000 stores accepted in Indonesia. So we try to focus on this market first. So after that, we will try to more expand globally by another e-commerce shop. Yeah. Next. So this is our ecosystem. So this ecosystem is built by us. Yeah. So we know before we targeting other people join to our ecosystem, we must build our ecosystem first. So the first ecosystem that we build is festive. So next will be another project built by Vexanium team. So next this is our future ecosystem. So next year we plan and also we encouraging more developers to join our public blockchain and create more blockchain app based on Vexanium. Yeah. So next year will be good year to us because a lot of project will come based on Vexanium on Indonesia. So next, yeah, this is our future plan. Yeah. Our ICO already finished 6 months ago, so now we are already on the market, and phase 1 is launched for Vexanium in Indonesia. So phase 1 is already almost finished. We start to build a FaceGift app and also try to acquiring new users to the crypto and blockchain space. And next is phase 2 is next year. Yeah, next. Yeah, next year we will open our public blockchain. So maybe next month we will open like if you have a project, if you have a dream to build a project, we can maybe we can help. Yeah. So this project will be based on Vexanium platform. So we will build like Ethereum for Indonesia. So why Indonesia? Because we know this country is a lot of people have a dream. So from this dream, we know that we can have a build dream together. So from the Vexanium phase 2, next year will be a lot of project based on Vexanium. So now we try to collect some of project, and next year will be a lot. Yeah. So the phase 3 is we will try to expand also to other country after we focusing on Indonesian market. So yeah, next. So this is our presentation. Yeah, if you have any question, you can ask me. So, do you have any question? No? All okay? Yeah. Oh.
Is it on exchanges? Can we buy things yet?
Sorry.
Can we buy?
Yeah. If you want to buy Vex, yeah, this already on 8 exchange right now. Yeah. You can see on the CoinMarketCap there around 8 exchanges you can buy. Yeah. Also on in Indodax, yeah, Indodax is the largest exchange on Indonesia. You can buy also there. Yeah, for the Vexanium. Yeah. Okay. Any question? So all. Yeah. Okay. All is done. Thank you for listening our presentation. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Danny, for the insightful session. I now would like to call our panelists for the international panel discussion. I call to stage Mr. Steven de Moulinier, co-founder Coin Academy, who will be the moderator for the session. Also, I call Mr. Rastislav Vasilisin, CEO of Virtuous Exchange, Mr. Ilan Skarlatov from BlueShare, and also Mr. Seimin Kwan, Managing Director of Wirex Asia Pacific. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the panelists.
Welcome to the last session of the day. This is Blockchain and Cryptocurrencies taking center stage. My name is Stephen DeMillionaire. I'll be moderating this session. I'm co-founder of Coin Academy, which is actually a defunct website. It's just something that Sarfraz had handy when he invited me to moderate this panel at the last minute. I'm actually most recently Director of International Partnerships at PundiX, which is a point-of-sale device manufacturer, as well as a blockchain phone manufacturer. So, global markets are just starting to adjust to these new realities of blockchain and cryptocurrencies, and I have with me here three experts in different aspects of the mass adoption of cryptocurrencies, if you will. Usually when we use that term, we think of mass adoption for consumers, but in this case, this is going to be mass adoption for financial markets that we're going to be talking about, right? So, I'll do a brief introduction now. I have with me, on the far right here, Ras Vasilissin, CEO and founder of Virtues Exchange and Virtues Group, founded in 2006 in Prague. And to his right, I have Seymen Kwan, Managing Director of Wirex Asia Pacific, a blockchain-based crypto-supporting personal finance platform that was founded in 2014. And I have Ilyan Skarlatov, Financial Advisor to BlueShares, BlueShares.io, which are security tokens of, what is it called, Interprom mining in Bulgaria. But yeah, thank you for coming. So let's begin. Who would like to start with a bit of a talk about what you do and introduce yourselves?
Thank you very much. I would like to thank everyone who stayed that late. I know that you're looking forward to hit the rooftop and see the sunset, so thank you for leaving the last of your strength for us. My name is Ilyan Skarlatov. I'm in investment banking for the last 20 years. I've been doing conventional finance. I have more than 70 IPOs, and I believe that security token offerings, STOs, is the new thing. And eventually it will push away the IPOs, probably some very few will stay, but there is some time to that. I'm with BlueShare. It is one of the latest security tokens. I'll speak about it later. And I'm very glad to be here. So I'm giving the mic to Seymen, which we were together in Kuala Lumpur several days ago. And looking forward to have a nice discussion, guys.
Thank you. My name is Seymen Kwan. I work for Wirex. Have you heard of Wirex before? Probably not. So our mission is to bridge the gap between cryptocurrency and everyday spending. So we offer crypto and fiat multi-currency trading platform, as well as Visa payment card, Visa debit card, so that you can actually quickly cash out and then use in daily life. We are one of the three crypto-focused companies who was granted the UK e-money license back in August. So I think probably you heard about us from some of the media. But yeah, today I would like to actually talk about cryptocurrency and then how cryptocurrency can be used in real economy. So I look forward to the session today. Thank you.
Hi everybody. My name is Ras Vasilissin. I'm a CEO and founder of Virtues Exchange, and I don't come from tech. I come from finance and energy trading background. I used to own and run one of the largest carbon emissions trading company, power and gas trading company out of Europe, subsequently from 2014 in China, where we were the largest carbon emissions broker out there. That was my kind of thing. I was running operations, back office sales in 22 different locations around the world for 12 years. And I believe one of the best use cases for blockchain is to democratize investing and make them available for everybody. And this is where Virtues Exchange comes in. We are through so-called DAX, or digital asset correlates tokens, trying to create pairs with real-world assets and merge or bridge 300 trillion worth of financial assets with crypto.
So each of you are working really hard to break into existing financial markets, and I think that our audience here, and I'd like to ask you to prepare some questions as well too, and we'll go back and forth so it's not just an interview with me. But I would like you guys to talk about the challenges that you faced in getting, not even just taking center stage, but all of the steps that you've taken to get onto the stage, actually, to be able to issue shares of a company as a cryptocurrency or on the blockchain, and how to negotiate deals with Visa, and how to also be dealing with the old boys club that would prefer to keep trading to be the domain of people who are accredited or meet certain requirements, wear the same color scarf or something like that, whatever those rules are that prevent the large majority of people from being involved in these systems. And I think that would be very fascinating for people to hear a little bit about those challenges that you faced and how you've overcome them.
Well, I'll start a little bit backwards. So what we saw the last 2 years was a huge verge in ICOs. So for me, this was mostly, there are exceptions, but mostly a manifestation of PR and nice design of logos, of websites, of white papers, and at the end of the day, there was nothing there. So a lot of money were funded from the crowd. The owners of this venture were saying, well, okay, everyone can spare $100, but when it is like several million people spending $100, it piles up. So there were people who were benefiting without actually delivering what was in the website, in their strategy, etc., etc. So as you can understand, this cannot stay unregulated. So security tokens offering is like ICO squared or IPO squared, whatever you like, because IPO is in the old world, so-called in the blockchain domain, or ICO squared in the blockchain domain. So the idea of an STO is to actually give away some of the assets of the company to the shareholders, to the people who actually give you money, not only promise. You can have a startup, but you have to give some of the shares to the shareholders. With the ICO, with the utility tokens, you are actually not diluting yourself and you're not giving anything. Second is sharing the profits, giving dividends, which was promised in the ICOs, but when you do it in such early stage and you promise things that even God cannot deliver, it's obviously that no money will be made and no dividends will be paid out. So we are seeing a verge towards STOs next year, and we believe there will be a lot of them. So what we do in Blue Shares, we actually give for each security token offered an actual real share. So at any point of time, if you want to switch your token with an actual share, which gives you entitlement to the real assets and entitlement to dividends, you can do so. However, what the blockchain offers and a security token offers is two major things. First, global access to capital. So you can offer it globally. Of course, you need to be compliant with the US regulation, you have to be compliant with the European regulation, you have to be compliant with the Asian regulation, because these are the three major markets. So you need to know the laws and you need to obey the laws in order to make a legally compliant STO on a global reach. If you wanted to do that the old way, you have to list the company on a stock exchange, then issue global depository receipts, and you would pile up so many costs that it's unbearable for an early stage company. And there is a third big advantage of an STO. Today, if you have a young company, you have venture capital series, then you have private equity series A, private equity series B, private equity series C, so you become a bigger company, and then you can afford to throw in the can approximately $500,000 to become a listed company. With blockchain, you can do the IPO through an STO in an early stage and be on the blockchain, be public, use the hyperledger, see who your shareholders are, see all the transactions because the token is actually logging through the Hyperledger each shareholder. So there are a lot of advantages, and Hyperledger provides transparency because blockchain is all about transparency. It's all about bringing people together easily and cost efficiently. And because this took too long, I will pass the mic to my left.
Thank you. The challenges we faced, I can talk in two different angles. The first one is stakeholder management, because we actually offer something hybrid platform combining cryptocurrency as well as the traditional banking financial products, such as card as well as the IBAN multi-currency bank accounts. So we pretty much had to negotiate and also work and put everyone together in the table, the crypto side as well as the banking side. That was very, very challenging. And also, these two parties have different compliance requirements. So we actually went through about 10 months compliance due diligence with Visa. And in Asia, we are planning to launch our Visa payment card next year, March time. Operation-wide, the speed and cost, transaction speed and cost was an issue last year when we actually, because we are the crypto-based remittance payment companies. So I think we adopted new technologies like Lightning Network for Bitcoin transaction and Plasma for Ethereum transactions. So it looks like, and also the transaction cost has come down significantly this year from $40+ per transaction to a few cents. So all that, I think we are in a better position and better environment. So I believe that the challenges we still see some challenges, but definitely we can overcome and then finally launch the most anticipating product in Asia.
I'd like to pivot to a macro perspective of challenges for the blockchain, other than micro from my point of view. First of all, I believe that blockchain technology is one of the biggest inventions out there, bigger than internet, bigger than steam engine. It's going to affect pretty much every segment of the economy. So we're not going to name pretty much every sector which is going to be changed. But in order to evaluate real benefits, we have to check the challenges and take a step back and ask ourselves the question whether blockchain itself is actually ready to take those challenges. And I see three major hurdles in that journey. The first hurdle is the technology hurdle. And by that I mean that the technology is still very slow and naive. And Ethereum network has 15 transactions per second, Bitcoin 5. That's nothing in comparison to Visa or MasterCard with 65,000 transactions per second. So there has to be quite a lot of development before we get to some kind of mass adoption. The second hurdle is the regulations hurdle, and that's where Virtuous Exchange comes in. Because, and by the regulations I mean that most of the population of this planet is not included in financial services. There is probably only 1 or 5% of the population that is so-called accredited investors, and everybody else is not included. So that has to change quite substantially in order for mass adoption to take over. And the third challenge or hurdle, in a way, is in liquidity. And the markets are quite small, relatively. I mean, what is it to compare with, for example, 300 trillion worth of financial assets, or the Apple stock is 5 times larger than whole crypto markets. So imagine if big hedge funds and pension funds and mutual funds move into the markets with their trillions of assets under management. What is it going to do with liquidity, with volatility, security? Where are the custodian solutions? So I believe that we need some time before we get to some real mass adoption.
Okay, I'd like to open it up to the floor. Does anyone have any questions? All right, we do.
E-Trade is directly tied into all these changes, so I can actually buy a security very, very efficiently, and me being the owner of that security, I'm already electronically registered. So as far as your security token, what are the, I realize that there is probably some inherent value in the efficiency and also the price point of entry as far as registration and all that, but what other value is, aside from that, is there comparative to the trusted central banking model using the brokerage accounts?
I guess this is towards me, is that correct? This question is for me, right? Okay, so let's get again one step back. Initially, there were paper equities, paper shares that were traded over a chalkboard between players. So this was actually the first era of trading. Then the second, the digital era came, where you take your shares to a depository institution and then you get the IC, International Securities Identification Number. So your shares are digital. And then they were traded on stock exchanges locally. Then the third wave came when there were online brokers who offered multiple exchanges under one roof. So you could access any exchange anywhere in the world. However, this does not solve one of the big issues in the industry, which is called dark pools. A dark pool is when someone holds shares from your company and you don't know who this person is and how many layers behind he is being hidden. For instance, it may be a terrorist, or it may be a malicious investor, or something like that. Blockchain, through the Hyperledger, offers full transparency and shows in every given second where the share, the token, stands. So this is one of the big advantages of blockchain, and I believe all financial regulators globally would realize that they hold Pandora's box in front of them and they have not opened it yet.
I assume you're talking about a delegated or a federated model, and then if so, and who would be in charge of the KYC, and would those photographs or would the basic name information of those people be publicly accessible?
Well, look, basically the entry point is the KYC. So the KYC provider has to see if the person is from an eligible country, if he's of the proper age, if he has a proper, in case of accredited investor, if he has the proper experience, because I'm also supporting that, as my colleague said, everyone should have access to capital markets. Unfortunately, the system, the regulation, the state is saying, look, we need to prepare to protect unliterate, unprepared, unsophisticated investors who don't know what they do, and they could have inherited $500 million and spend it on ICOs with nice pictures and nice promises which have no substance. So KYC is the entry point. Once you're on blockchain, you're already there. So the Hyperledger, it's logging every shareholder that buys every stock. So and it is there, and it is for the public.
So again,
I mean, we don't own this information.
Okay, so again, would any Hyperledger security token be responsible to verify who would be in charge of, again, the question is, who would be in charge of, through the delegated or the federated model, who would be in charge of verifying that information and actually qualifying that the person is who they say they are? Because as you know, fraud, as far as identity theft, impersonation, and all of these things are very prevalent. So what would stop, for example, a terrorist that has a fake United States passport with a real name and a real ID number, but it's something that they allocated improperly, and who would guarantee that the information as far as it being delegated and researched as that person is who they say they are, and would the responsibility in case of error fall on the delegation?
I understand your question, but this is not a financial matter. This is an entry point matter which we cannot tackle because simply it's not a capital markets issue. Fraud and identity theft is a much bigger issue than any of us. And we simply cannot have a safe switch for that as a security token.
So
I don't believe anyone has a safe switch for that.
In other words, even though you have a very good idea of what a security token should represent, you can't guarantee that the person, through the entry point of know your customer regulation, is actually going to be a guarantee of self-regulation as far as all the claims that you're supporting.
Well, this is something that we can discuss further on because I don't want to turn this into a dialogue. No worries. So please, some questions to the colleagues on my left so that it's really a discussion.
For sure. Russ, did you?
No. We touched on the topic of KYC and ML. Everybody talks about this investor protection program, and we have to protect widows and orphans against everybody, all the scammers. Now, if you're not smart enough to read the white paper, or not smart enough to Google something about the founders, we cannot protect you from yourself. And the regulators actually created this sort of new program called Investor Protection Program, where they protect widows and orphans against everybody else. And by that, it created a special class of investors that are so-called qualified or accredited. And these accredited investors are basically, in order to be accredited investor, you have to be a millionaire. That's the truth. And I don't mean millionaire by some assets out there that are liquid, by having at least $1 million liquid. And what I'm basically saying is that if you're not a millionaire or rich person, you're dumb enough to invest, and you should be excluded from the financial system. And that has to change substantially. I believe the blockchain is here to democratize investing again, and hopefully that's going to change very soon.
Basically, in the US, if you read Regulation D, there is a special part where they say they have another category of investors. It's called the sophisticated investor. And they say any person who has business knowledge, can read financial statements, have experience with finance without putting any number, is there. So the goal is now to expand from accredited investors to sophisticated investors. Regulation D allows you to solicitate no more than 35 sophisticated investors. So again, you can solicit them, but not open to anyone. So if the market shifts towards expanding from accredited investors to sophisticated investors, I believe we're going the direction you would like the market to go.
Okay, so then, Seaman, what do you think about this? Your platform is very consumer facing. Your exchanges, Ras and Ilian, have exchanges that are for more, serious, accredited, sophisticated investors, whereas your platform is really consumer facing and encouraging people to start getting involved in investing and then being able to spend those rewards using a card. Could you talk about more about that then, and about the kind of people who make use of your platform?
Yeah, sure. So KYC AML also really critical part of our process. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we touch upon traditional banking infrastructure like card and also IBAN. So we actually had to customize our KYC AML procedure policy, also get audited by Big Four auditing companies, all that required by Visa and our banking partner in Europe. So pretty much, based on customer's location, we have different verification process. So currently in Singapore, we actually customized our KYC process for Singapore. For Asia, because Singapore has more strict KYC requirements. We actually adopted RegTech company, RegTech solution based in the UK. It's a machine learning based RegTech company. So we try to also adopt, the most up-to-date technology, still, meeting the local regulation. And also AML, we have a very strong risk team, and then also we closely work with our partners, continuously monitor the transaction. So our product, so I always ask questions, is it really safe for whenever I meet the people from bank, and how, is there really legit, how do you verify your source of funding? So we had to actually discuss with the bank and Visa, and set the daily spending limit, withdrawal limit, because we allow our customer withdraw cash from ATM machine and use card at POS and online, offline, any shops and restaurants. So it was a lot of the negotiation. So as a crypto enthusiast, I really hope that the day comes so that everyone can just use cryptocurrency directly. But adoption rate is quite disappointing at the moment. I heard that 0.3% at merchant level, and probably Japan is the only country that accepts cryptocurrency directly. About 20,000 merchants they accept directly, and some big Japanese companies starting accepting cryptocurrency, like Big Camera, the big electronic shop in Akihabara, or like Peach Airline. There's some interesting going on there, but as a global, you don't really see that much. That's why, as a company, WireX, we would like to actually fill the gap at this point of time, so that our customer, everybody easily use major cryptocurrencies in real life.
I would like to add something to that. Well, back in the days when you had a platform, a system, an accounting or a CRM, and you want to switch it with a new one, usually you had 2 to 3 months that both systems will run simultaneously. So I believe what you're saying, it will happen. So, but for some time, fiat and crypto have to run simultaneously until one starts fading away slowly.
That brings us then to a discussion of your operating areas, your regulatory areas as well. How about talking a bit about how people on-ramped into your system, which jurisdictions they're in, and if there are cross-border transfers involved or if not, and how do people cash out, and where does that go?
Okay, this is a very good question for us, because we spent almost a year clearing out which jurisdiction to use. So, Interprom, it's a Bulgarian company, bearing a Bulgarian flag and having 22 exploration to concession rights for hardcore mining. That's why I have the helmet here. This is a conventional mining helmet. It's not a server Bitcoin mining helmet. So the operation is within the European Union, it's in Bulgaria. But if I ask, do you know where Bulgaria is? Any hands? Okay, 2 guys understand. So no one knows where Bulgaria is. That's exactly the point. So if I tell you buy a Bulgarian token, probably you wouldn't do it because you don't know the jurisdiction and you won't feel comfortable. So what we do, the operations company, the so-called OPCO, is in Bulgaria. But the owner of the Bulgarian company, it's the holdco, the holding company, it's registered in Switzerland. Now, if I ask, do you know where Switzerland is and do you like chocolate? Probably each one of you know where Switzerland is. So we are regulated by FINMA, which is the Swiss Financial Supervision Authority, and we are a public company according to the Swiss legislation. However, there is a disadvantage that Switzerland is not part of the European Union. So being a public company in Switzerland does not allow you to offer your security tokens or your shares in Europe. That's why we are doing a second regulation venue, which is Liechtenstein. Liechtenstein, even though not a member of the European Union, is part of the financial system of European Union and allows EU passporting. So our company, our holding company, is duly regulated by Switzerland and Liechtenstein, and this empowers us to offer in Europe. We will make the prospectus and an offering which is regulation D compliant for the US offering. For the Asian regulation, we are not very much into it yet because we have some language barriers. However, we are looking also into it, and this will give us what I said is the biggest advantage of blockchain, a global reach to capital and a transparency about ownership through Hyperledger, and every holder is entitled to a piece of the mines, which would be mining gold, silver, copper, zinc, lead, all these precious metals. The reserves are there. It's not like probably they're there. They're in the register of the state of Bulgaria, and their worth is 3.4 billion United States dollars. So it's pretty interesting. Jurisdiction was a key moment. We spent a lot of time and we burned a lot of cash for legal advice just to make it work and stick. You know, it's the first mover's advantage, which is also a disadvantage because you have to pay it yourself. In 1 or 2 years, probably it will be mainstream, so regulation will be there. We'll speak later about the regulation in Europe, in Malta, etc., etc. And these costs won't be needed for the newcomers, but the first ones need to make them.
So when we started about 3-4 years ago, as a startup, it's really difficult to get the license and you know, in terms of a cost point of view, right? So we basically wrote our partner's license. So in Europe, we work with the Contis, which is card issuers. So we pretty much use their infrastructure and license. But now we grew big enough, so we just acquired UK. We're actually a British company based in London, and we acquired UK's e-money license, which means that all the money of our customers are protected under the British laws and regulations. And we expanded into Asia, so we registered as a store value facility in Singapore at Monetary Authority of Singapore in order to do our card sales and marketing. And Japan, now all exchanges and trading platform required to get the license, crypto exchange license in Japan. So we applied this license last December, and we're still waiting for the result. We hope to get this early next year. And we just started actually applying for money transfer license in the US, Canada, so that we can do more fiat related businesses. So absolutely right, I think, as he said, the first starter sometimes get disadvantaged because you had to learn so much things, you make so much mistakes. We are actually the first one who came up with this idea, the crypto program, crypto debit card idea. And 2 years ago, actually, this card was available very short period of time. I don't know if some of you remember, just for a couple of months, because the card was with several companies, 3 or 4 companies, including 10x, Monaco. I don't know if you heard of these companies, but the program was shut down because all of us basically used the same card issuer called Wavecrest, based in Gibraltar, and then this issuer sent card to unwanted countries by Visa. So Visa basically freaked out and shut down the program. So now Visa made it clear that we have to get the BIN, get the program set up regionally, going through all the relevant compliance due diligence by their regional office. That's why we actually launched the card in Europe first this year March with the European card issuer, and now I'm actually working really hard to launch this card in Asia with a different issuer, and my counterpart in the US do the same. So, but we learned a lot of lesson by doing it, but it was really valuable experience. Someone running the business. So hopefully we overcome all the hurdles, and then we offer you the really innovative product next year, Q1, even in Indonesia.
Now, we are fully registered in Singapore and compliant with all the Singapore laws, but I'd like to take a step back again and talk about regulations in general, because I believe that the regulations are not really necessary in this hard form that are implemented or going to be implemented in the major countries. And I strongly believe that probably number one killer for the innovation and mass adoption is the regulations. And there are two reasons for that. The first reason is that the regulations or government's regulations is probably a hidden tax on the market. This has not actually materialized yet with the blockchain, because these regulators are usually 70 or 80-year-old men that have never used a computer, probably never used the internet, so they haven't really grasped the full concept of the market. So it's going to take some time before they grasp it, license it, and tax it. So that has not happened yet. But the second reason why I believe that regulation is number one killer is that it stifles innovation. And there's a so-called revolving door between the incumbents and the regulators, pretty much in every industry. And these incumbents are doing anything in their power to impose all kinds of barriers to entry for the new entrants, for the new startups, to protect their market share. And they use regulations as a tool. And we've seen it live with all these kind of Jamie Dimons, creating fear and uncertainty about blockchain. Now, proponents of the regulations argue that government regulation reduces scams. Well, I beg to differ on this one, because just in recent history, I remember the 2008 financial crisis, the market rigging, LIBOR, gold rigging, silver rigging, all commodities marketing, and all these manipulation and scams that have actually happened on a highly regulated markets. So sometimes, in a way, regulation helps the scammers. So I believe that free market society or free markets should be self-regulated as much as possible. And what is advantageous for us entrepreneurs and investors, in a way, is that these regulators actually started to compete against one another. So if one country has a very stringent regulations, entrepreneurs and investors move their virtual offices to the regulators or the countries or jurisdictions that have much lighter touch. And that's actually great news for us entrepreneurs and investors.
Light touch is one thing. Another thing would be the clear laws and regulations. So if I look at Japan now, Japan has a very clear, relevant crypto laws and regulations. So it's a lot easier for us to actually plan something, and then as long as we meet the requirements, we can do the business. But there are certain countries in Asia, government doesn't just let crypto players play, but depending on the boom and bust, sometimes they do some media play or pressure or negative media play. Like Korea, I'm actually Korean, but I think Korean government does really funny thing. They have no desire to actually establish proper laws and regulations. It's just they do the negative media play when the market is booming, so that government discourage the investment and trading. And then if the price is low, then government doesn't do anything. They just let traders do whatever they want to do. So it's very difficult to even develop strategy or commit investment. So I actually really supporting the government initiative to regulate the industry, like Japan, or like China, they ban it. That's fine, that's clear. But this uncertainty and clarity sometimes make really difficult for entrepreneurs, startup actually commit anything in that particular jurisdiction.
Guys, I would like just to wake you up a little bit because I see that things, noses are in the phones. How many of you have a bank account? Hands, please. Okay. Second question. How many of you have read the general conditions of the bank they have the bank account in? One? I thought so. You go to the bank and they hand you over the general conditions, which are between 25 and 50 pages, and say these are with that tiny font. And they say these are the general conditions, please sign them on. This is how regulation works today. It works to protect the state and so that they can tell you, we told you so. We have it covered. No one reads the general conditions. So I am for regulation, but a proper one where it's needed. Not the one that helps the state to cover their ass, excuse my French, and say, no, we have taken care of it and it is there, and provide the general conditions of 50 pages that no one reads. So we need regulation, but we need it to be smart, we need it to be proper. And I rely a lot on the smart contracts. If you buy a stock today, probably 15 laws regulate different aspects of the stock you're buying. Now, if you buy a token, a security token, everything you need is within the smart contract. Nice, simple, neat. You don't need to read 50 laws and be literate in legal terms. It is where it should be, as it should be.
Okay, great. And with that, our session is ended. It's been fantastic. Thank you very much. Ilian, thank you very much. Seaman, thank you very much. Raz, thank you very much. I stretched my hand over there. It's been a pleasure talking with you and with you as well too, to have your questions and discussion here this afternoon. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen, for the expert opinion. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the conference today. I would like to thank you for all your participation today. On behalf of Blackarrow, we look forward to see you on our next conference. And also, big thank you for all our partners for supporting the event. Thank you, have a nice evening, and a lovely weekend.